Thanks for having me again. Steve Bontel, I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at Settlers Life. Been doing this thing for a long, long time. About 25 years in the business. I'm a senior market guy, and I love American Senior Benefits, which is your group. I loved it so much that when the company started back in, I think, '05, I was meeting with a guy by the name of Ernie Giambra and a guy named Jim Sweeney, if those names mean anything to you. And I thought the product and the company was so important that I really wanted to go work for them. They chose wisely and decided not to hire me. But while I was there, I was really excited about what their vision for the future was. And I can honestly tell you, after seeing Jim and Ernie about a month ago in Madison, Wisconsin, that this is a great organization. I mean, it just is. And I guess maybe because I've spent so much time in it, and I know pretty much everybody in this space, that I can honestly say it's the best group out there. So you guys, hopefully, those new people on board, and I was with an ASP office in the last week, a lot of new, who's new in the business? Kind of new, fairly new?
Less than a year.
Less than a year, okay. I say all that only as a point of reference for you guys. There's not a better organization in the business. If there was, I'd tell you. Brutally honest, sometimes to the point where people say, I wish you wouldn't have said it, but I'll say it. It's the best organization out there. So if you're thinking there's something better, there's not. Which means if you focus on what you're doing here, for the next year, you're going to be real successful. If you quit and you keep talking in the mirror and looking and saying this was no good, it really wasn't. The opportunity was you. And you're going to end up quitting like your entire life. So I'm very direct because I've run
That's a hell of an entrance.
There's nothing better than what you have, and because I've done and I've worked for it seems like a million companies, either as an agent, as a home office officer, or a consultant with so many companies, I can honestly tell you, you have the best opportunity. Now, what you do with it is up to you. I mean, nobody can teach you that. One of the things is that they give you a lot of products to sell, and you're in the senior market, so you're in the Medicare space. You're in the financial space, albeit annuities and other things, and you're also in the final expense space. So I call that the healthcare, money care, and the death care space. Okay, so you're in all three of those because you're in the senior market. Just so happens at Settlers today, we only focus on one, which is the death care space. The reason why I love it, and I moved away from the Part D, which I launched the Part D program in the U.S. back in '06 for a company called Coventry Healthcare. Have you heard of them? I also built the final expense product for a company called Forethought Life. I don't know if you market Forethought at all. I built a long-term care product for a company called Life Secure, which is Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan. You may have heard that if you were in the law. Been around, guys. And I can tell you that final expense is where I decided I wanted to put my anchor and really decide that's what I wanted to do, because everyone's going to die. And at some point in time, every family is going to deal with dying and aging. And it's because of my past, which I'll touch on as we move through the presentation today, helped me build the product that you see here. So the products that you see here, and one of the reasons why I asked Scott if I could come, is because it's one thing to see a product in a brochure format. It's another thing to talk to the guy who designed it, who wrote it, who built it, and ultimately is the guy in charge of growing it in the U.S. And by virtue that today American Senior Benefits is my #1 customer, they are the largest producer for Settlers Life in the U.S., I do whatever I can for my customers, and that's why I'm here, okay? I believe that every single person that you're going to see today, tomorrow, by the end of this week, you should be talking about final expense. If you're not, it's probably because you don't feel comfortable with it yet, or you've had a bad experience in selling it or something like that. By mentioning it and talking about it as I've designed it, I think you're going to find today that hopefully it'll be a kind of an eye-opening experience. And then I've got some gifts and some perks and some gift cards and things like that I pass out too. I like spending money on agents because I'm an agent. And the one thing I hated when I started in this industry 25 years ago, when I sat in the chair, was I hated guys like me that would come in and talk about product. I just hated it. And you guys, some of you are out there right now, you're like, who's this guy, right? Showing up with the jacket, the thing. I'm with you. I'm with you. I was there. I never really understood it because all they want to do is talk product, and they didn't really understand my world. I understand your world. I've lived in your world. And if I were any good at what you do, I'd still be doing it. I mean, if you think about it. And so the truth is I respect you. I value what you're going to bring, but I also believe my job now is to create products and services that will help you make more money, help you get a better lifestyle, help you win, okay? So that's my challenge, and that's my goal. So that hopefully today you'll walk out of here with that, and again, I'll give away some neat stuff at the end. All right. That's a little bit about me. Help me understand, how many people today sell final expense here? Okay, everybody. Okay, how many people have sold settlers? Okay, so almost everybody. Royal Neighbors is big here too, right? Big in the agency, so you've sold Royal Neighbors, you sold Fraternal Benefits, okay? It's okay, I don't know why, but I'm saying.
You guys get out of here.
Yeah, all of you just leave. No, I can't do that. Those folks are my friends. We've been in this business a long time. So it's understanding who you are and what you are. Who's really good at selling final expense? I mean, who just loves it right now? Who can, as we say, slay the beast in final expense? Who can do that? Anybody write?
No one's like,
No, it's okay because a lot of people in our space, they're Medicare people, okay, and there's nothing wrong with that because we lead with Medicare a lot, right? Before we do our needs analysis, then we move into these other things. Some people love financial products, right? How many people are big annuity people? Love annuities, right? It's your seminar, do annuities, right? But final expense is a little unique. Everybody here has kind of done it, so they kind of know that is it difficult to sell? For the most part, right? You got to be able to afford it though, right? Because persistency is important. So when you're knocking on the door sometimes and you look down, and sometimes where these leads will send you, or maybe a referral will send you, and you look down and you're thinking, that gap under that front door is about that big. Something hairy just ran across my feet and I don't know what it is, right? Or you're knocking on the door and then you're thinking that the hinges are going to break off at some point. Those are people that, as much as they love to have final expense, probably can't afford the life insurance, right? So it's understanding that what the risks are. It's a big part of this job, and knowing that if they do, then that's how we make our money, right? What makes Settlers Life, what makes us unique in this space, as I said before, is all we do. We're not in other products as of yet, and we may at some point in time in the near future, but we only do this. Been doing it now for about 80 years, all right, as we started out. So that's all we know. We started out as a mutual burial association. What that is, guys, is that it's just people in the mountains of Virginia, which is where we're from. We're in Bristol, Virginia, where people just get together and they just give you $2 or $3 a week. And then at some point in time, if one of the members were to get sick and die, then there's money there to help pay for the funeral. That worked really well for 50 years. But then in '84, the state of Virginia came in and said, that sounds like an insurance company, taking small funds, and then when there's a big event, you're taking money out to pay for that. We need to tax you as a life insurance company. So Settlers Life was created. We're owned by National Guardian Life. Anybody ever hear of National Guardian Life? Okay. Scott, a few of you, National Guardian Life is the largest provider of pre-need life insurance in the country. So if you today were to go down to this funeral home, perhaps, I don't know if they're one of our participating providers, but if you go down to this funeral home down here and say you want to quote unquote pre-plan your funeral, you would sit, has anybody ever done that with your family or something like that? Okay, you have. You'll sit down and you'll have a piece of paper and it'll talk about your goods and services that you're going to get, right? So my casket, my monument, my grave liner, my whatever it is, okay? And there's all prices affixed to that. And then you see at the end, you say it's $12,000 and they might ask you for $6,000 at a check, a single premium right now. You okay, $6,000 to give you $12,000 worth of coverage. That's a single premium whole life insurance product that's created by National Guardian Life. And we own that space. We do over 500 million, so a year in it, so $500 million. We are solely focused on trying to create financial solutions for end of life for the most part today. We buy other blocks of business, and we've dabbled in other products, but we're end of life people. That's what we do, all right? So that helps understanding a little bit about Settlers. As far as selling today, do you guys generally lead, does anybody here just lead with final expense, or we're following the needs analysis all the way through? So we're really going through Medicare, and then we're finding things as we go through, right? Pretty much everybody that you're gonna see is a potential final expense candidate, if they have final expense, right? You ever walked into some old policies out there that have been around forever? I mean, so it's a real opportunity to sit down and say, hey, look, while I'm here, let me just take a look at it. Because sometimes you'll find in some policies this thing called cash value, right, that accumulates. And sometimes you can take some cash value, 1035 that, right, and move that over into a single premium where they can actually buy some additional life insurance, which we have a number of people do for us around the country. And we also have this thing called a trust, which some of you may have heard of. We haven't spent time with it, but I can assure you in the next probably 30 days, you're going to start seeing things from Settlers Life about our trust product. And essentially a trust is a vehicle whereby people put, I mean the trust is with National Guardian Life, but they essentially protect their funeral and protect the money that they're putting in from anybody, right? So it's from a Medicaid spend down type aspect. We have a funeral trust and we have an estate planning trust. Both of those nobody else in the country has. We've never introduced them to ASB, and ASB has asked us, their leadership, to roll this stuff out. So within the next month or two, I won't spend time today talking about it, but there will be this thing called the Funeral Expense Trust and the Estate Planning Trust coming. And when it does, it'll all be geared toward ASB, and it'll be very helpful for you. We have, in fact, one office is the Butch Clay, the Wausau, Wisconsin office. He's our largest producer, and that's all they write, all their agents write, our trust, because when you put it in a trust, the competitors can't take it. Nobody can move that business, so its persistency is about 99%. So it's kind of cool. So look for when you see trust stuff coming, all right? For those people selling Settlers today, help me understand what you like currently and what you dislike, if anything, for those people that are selling.
Single premium.
You like a single premium?
Really good single premium product here.
Okay. Single premium?
I like the 20-year paid up.
20-year pay up, great for younger people, right? So if you get somebody in their 50s for a few dollars more, really, it's crazy to let them continue to pay a lifetime when they can just pay for 20 years and be done. 10 years, great too. Yeah.
I like the fact that you can do a direct bill on a monthly.
Yep.
There's a lot of clients out there, believe it or not, don't have checking accounts.
Yeah, well, that's different. We want them to have a checking account and a savings account. We want them, that's why we're not into this debit express card. There are other vendors that do. We want them to have a checking savings account, because if they don't, the persistency isn't very good long term. We will direct bill. Direct bill generally doesn't have good persistency either. But the truth is that, like, my wife believes that if she gives out her social security number or a bank number, that we are going to have a massive conspiracy greater than the likes of JFK. Okay, so as a result, she absolutely will not, on any of our things, do anything except have a direct bill. We pay our bills all the time, but we're still. I look at her and I go, okay, so how does that work? You know, with Settlers Life. And I go, oh, we have a direct bill for people just like you, all right? The truth is, though, the reason you want it on to pre-authorized checking is you want to make sure that they've got the money in there every single month that can pay the bill, okay? Anything else that you like about Settlers?
Ease of business.
Ease of doing business, okay? Anything else?
Think black.
Wide range of age, we go from 0 to 85. So if you're dealing with a grandma or a wife that has small kids, right? This is really, even though it wasn't totally designed there, it does offer a pretty decent package for them. What else?
People on the phone are so helpful. They're very understanding of some of the older people that maybe don't hear well or speak well.
Right.
Very patient.
Very patient, and Deep South, right? We speak as one, Deep South. You ever listen to those people on the phone? I'm from Florida, so I'm not technically from anywhere, right? I was born in North Carolina, but I lost that a long time ago. But I listen to these people, and they're like, "Hey, Steve, good to see you, huh?" Like, okay. It's just the Southern charm. It's just the way everybody is there. It's you guys have seen the Geico commercial, right? Where the lizard is, or the gecko is right down the center of, he goes, is it Tennessee, Virginia, and Bristol, right? That's where we are. So when you think of that commercial, think of us, right? So he goes over here and he goes, am I in Tenagenia? Or is this Virginia C? Remember that when he's going back and forth? That's actually true where he is. Literally, right down the center is called our State Street, or Main Street. On the left-hand side of the road is one state. On the other hand, on the other side of the road is another state. Now, all I can tell you is you can figure out which one it is. On the left side, we have a lot of boutique shops and country stores. And on the right side, we have a lot of bars and tattoo parlors. So you tell me which one's Virginia and which one's Tennessee. I'm not offending anybody there, right? One guy's in the back going, yeah, that's kind of both. Yeah, Tennessee's on the right side. Virginia's on the left side. But when you see that, think of us, because that's also home to Bristol Motor Speedway, which is the NASCAR half mile, and some of the prettiest country you're probably ever going to see. I mean, with the mountains wrapped around. And by the way, we also offer this. I know, Scott, maybe I said it at our meeting several months ago, but if many of you write with us, and I know some of you do, or some of you might, or might want to in the future, if you ever want to plan a trip to come see us, I pick up all your lodging, I pick up all of your food and entertainment, and I'll even give you gas cards. It's only probably, from Charleston, it's probably 4 hours, 4.5 hours, so not that far to go. If you really are into final expense and really want to know the carrier that you ride with, just know that, I don't know how many people have been in this industry for a long time, but if you have, how many of you ever been offered an opportunity to come to the home office and I'll pay for it?
Yeah, you realize it's like 100 of 100's gonna go now, right?
Yeah. It comes down to, we've already proven, at least I have over 25 years, is when you make the commitment to come see us, when you leave, what you're talking about, what you see in the back, it's now a face. It's now a name. It's now the underwriting department. It's not, it's, you know, it's Josh in underwriting, or it's so-and-so, and you just leave differently. Your leave changed. And I think we have a relationship with you that we couldn't have gotten had you not sacrificed your time to come. And so, see, we look at it differently. And I think it's just because it's my job to do it that way. Anything else? Anything else that you guys, you told me the things that you like.
New, so don't know the process of applying with settlers. Because I hear people saying phone interview. If you've never done a phone interview because you know several neighbors or any of that, what are the steps when you are in a client's home to get them pre-qualified?
Okay, I'll get to that in a minute, okay? Promise.
I like that book that you give them, that
Yeah,
how
okay.
you're supposed to help them plan,
Thank
and
you.
then this, I
That-
love this.
you guys-
I always use that.
All right, we're gonna show you how to use the magnet. Big part of the covered program. Okay, and how about, come on, you gotta be real with me, because I'm real. So you gotta tell me, what are things that you don't like, or there's things that you wish you could change?
Some other companies pay a little better commission.
Okay, it's fair enough. In your grid though, to be fair, because I've seen your grid of all the product lines, when you add up settlers, we're right where we want to be. We're a little bit lower on the front, only by a couple of points, but we're higher in the back end. So if your business stays on the books, it wins. And just keeping it real, there's this thing called the Beyond Benchmark bonus that we pay every single month. It doesn't run through the grid of ASB. It goes directly to the producer, and we pay up to $2,500 cash to people in addition to their sales every month. Now, to do that, to get $2,500, you got to be writing some business. You got to do a minimum. I think it's in the book. Look at this, Scott, real quick.
Which is all right.
You know, since I created all this stuff, I don't remember any of it. The age of it. Guys, in this little booklet right here, this thing right here is the bomb. It's our Beyond Benchmark bonus. It's in the home book. And if you go to like near the back page, if you guys can just go out right now and write, who can write $4,000 a month? Just be honest. Who writes $4,000 a month in premium and final expense? That equates to, what's the average premium? Thank you. What's the average premium and final expense? Would you guys know?
Annually,
It doesn't matter.
About
$1,000.
Maybe, right? It's gone up a little bit as an industry. You know, it used to be around 600. Now it's really close to about 800, but 1,000 is not uncommon, right? A year. So to get to 4,000, that could be what? 2 husband, wife, 2 couples, right? If you write good business and that business persists, we send you a check the 15th of the following month. So like, for instance, right now, August just starts. You guys go out right now this month and you say, I'm gonna see if I can get that bonus. And I'm gonna write $4,000 a month. Well, but if the business sticks right away, there's no waiting period to see how the business looks. If it's on the books, we send you $500, okay? And it's a hard check, so you'll get it up by the September 15th, okay? As one guy tells me all the time, and I get texts from this guy all the time. I thought one time would be enough, but this guy texts me all the time. He goes, thank you, thank you, thank you. But it's always about the 14th or 15th of each month, because he wins the check, he wins the benchmark bonus it's not a contest, it's just a bonus. He gets it, but it doesn't direct deposit into his account where his wife can see it. So he goes out to the mailbox and he gets it before she sees it. And then he goes cash. I'm telling you, we got 7,200 of them, just like you guys, and everyone's different.
Peanut butter, good butter, it's awesome.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Everybody's unique, but that bonus is real helpful. So that's somebody that says, I'm going to go out and see my Medicare clients and write final expense. And if you do, this is in addition to your commission. It doesn't go through ASB. It goes directly from the company. When we signed up with ASB back several years ago, Jim Sweeney and the leadership said, I do not want to take a single penny from the bonuses that all of our producers take. I want it going directly in their pocket. And I mean, how do you not love somebody like that, right?
Yeah.
So it's there. It's ongoing. It's not a contest. It's not a promotion. It's every single month. So if you're thinking, I want to make money and I can write final expense, the bonus in and of itself is the reason why when you add it all up, we become the highest paid commissionable company under DINC
And
if
no
you're writing
1099
business.
either, right?
Huh?
No 1099 either.
No, there's a 1099.
You were trying to get
Let's look
us.
at the list of things that we don't like.
It's cash.
It's cash.
Okay,
How does single premium equate to this?
that's 25%. So we count at 25%. So is that a lot for those
Yeah.
people who've been around?
Yeah.
So a lot of people in the single premium, what do they usually give you? Or annuity?
10.
10 to 1, right? So we do 25. People say, why did you do that, Steve? I said, because I'm an agent. And looking at my background, I've been fired so many times in my career that, and I'm just keeping it real with you, is that I've already told Jim, if I get fired, I want a job at ASB, and I want to make sure that I can write settlers because I want the best deal going. And I'm being honest, and people think I'm joking. The people that know me go, that's exactly what he did, was to create a product that I think
Credit.
is something that you're going to feel excited about. Now, the trip, while we've got it open, while you guys are looking at it right there, I've got some really cool news that actually just broke yesterday because I came up with it. And so we're releasing it. It should show up in the next tomorrow or sometime. But anyway, are trips important to you guys, or do you guys not really like trips? You like trips? And there's certain trips are better than other trips, right? Our trips are really unique because anybody here won an ASB trip? So you won the ASB trip. ASB is about family when they go on their trips, right? People you're around each other, you care about each other, whatever. But if you've won other trips with other carriers, sometimes it's not like that. Am I right? For people that have won, it's like, that's not an ASB trip. If you come to our trip, Al Hawks just came on our trip. Everybody know Al? Al came on our trip, and so did Matt Hogan, and that's another name that might ring a bell for you. And they came and they said, this is the most special company that I've ever been on any trip, the way you guys treat us. It's just, again, these are all things that I guess maybe I never got. I'm sort of a scorned agent. And so what I decided to do is create this now for everybody else that comes on board. They love it. They totally love our trip. So our trip, we just got back from 3 days in New York City in May, 3 days, 3 nights in New York City, and then we had a 6-day cruise to Bermuda, which was pretty nice, right? And it took $50,000 to qualify. Is that a lot to qualify for final expense? It's actually the lowest in the country. I'll save you the time we're thinking. This year, we're qualifying right now, we're going to the Greenbrier Resort in West Virginia. Everybody hear of the Greenbrier?
Yes.
Okay. Well, if you haven't, you can look it up. It's called America's Resort, the oldest resort, George Washington. You go on and stayed there. Some really historic significance, hosted with PGA Tour event. But they're America's Resort, and we applied and got our trademark here just recently. We're now called Settlers Life America's Final Expense Company. Okay, so we thought we'd tie it together with the resort. We've got some really big things planned. Now, our normal qualification for that trip is $50,000. But if you came on, you became a licensed agent before, or excuse me, after March 31st, we only required 35. So I decided I didn't think that was good enough. So I've come up with something that we're releasing. You'll see it today or tomorrow. That nobody in this office has written at least $10,000 with us this year. That I can tell you. I want you to feel really bad about that. But while you're stewing on that, let me see if I can help you. If you can write 25,000 from today, April, August 1st through the end of the year, 25,000 through the end of the year. Till the end of the year, you win, and I'll count whatever you sold this year toward the 25,000.
Fantastic.
Got yourself a deal.
Are you serious?
Hey now, I can do anything I want. Which is great. I feel like Donald Trump. I don't know what I don't think he knows what he's doing, so I don't think I'm going to. So it's sort of like this is an idea. We want to get as many. ASB is our, as I mentioned, it's our biggest client, and I have a personal affinity, as I said, and an affection for the company. I want ASB to be represented by as many people as I can. I just do. And once you come there, you'll know me, and you'll know that's why I came here. I want you guys to feel like if you're going to have a final expense home, which is what we use all the time, I want to give you every reason to be successful in final expense. Is that a cool promotion?
Yes.
That's a cool promotion. That's a 5-day, 4-night, and we don't skimp. We don't skimp on rooms, entertainment. And by the way, we also tell you that you can bring your spouse, significant other, bring your kids, grandkids. We pay for literally everything. We don't pay for the additional room or the, I don't know if you'll drive or fly, but we'll pay for all their activities, anything that they're going to do there at the hotel. Is that pretty cool?
Yeah, could you repeat it? One of the qualifications?
Just $25,000. You'll see a flyer that should show up to Scott and Gummy. He can put it out here. But it's $25,000 before the end of the year. So if you've got some Medicare clients or you got some people out there that you think could qualify for final expense, now's the time to go see them. And our belief is that once you win with us and once you spend time with us, you'll want to spend more time. It's just, you got to trust me on this one, I tell you. Many years ago, I ran a company called Pennsylvania Life, and we had 77. It was during the acquisition from the old Penn Life. When they started doing some stuff, I was already gone. Okay, the whole company totally changed. But I was there till 2005, and all the other stuff for some of you guys that had bad experiences with it, we came from that. My point is, I had a career shop with 77 offices, and everything we were doing was based on owning a personal relationship with the families that we serve. So the more that we know and see and care about you, the more you're going to care about us. But you got to see it from us first. This is a little different way. We don't call you agents at Settlers. You're called partners. You guys heard that on the phone? So what's this partner thing? Are these guys taking this little country thing too far? No, it truly is. We believe that you are our partner, and hence the reason we do what we do. So you have the invite to come see us, right? It's okay. Not everybody's going to do it. In fact, the way if everybody did, I'd be broke, right? But they don't. But the idea is when you're writing business with us and you have relationships starting and it may be while you're winning this contest, you're like, geez, I'm talking to these people and I'm doing well. I'm going to come up and see them and, hang out with us too. And if you come play golf, something I can hook you up there. If you want to fly fish, you want to try that, I can do that, help you out with that too. There's all kinds of different things. You want to take your car out on a Bristol Motor Speedway car and drive around the track with your own car, you can do that.
Come on.
No, it's true. It's pretty cool. I got my Traverse up there on one of those banks at it's a Chevy Traverse at 68, and I had 2 people in the back, and they're like, stop. I'm like, if I stop, I think we're going to flip this way. Because when you get on that bank, it's kind of scary. You just don't stop. You're just kind of going uh-oh, and at 68 miles an hour, it felt fast going around there. So anyway, that's something that we can have you do too. Other than commission, was there anything that, from a just understanding, and be honest, if you've had a bad experience, let me know. No? You have?
What?
Bad experience? Or are you just nodding saying, are you
Um,
just eating? Okay.
so single premium, I was gonna say, I didn't like the commission at all.
On the single premium.
Otherwise, it's
Okay, that's fair. The single premium commission isn't the highest, it's not. In fact, we had a rate increase on the single premium a couple of months ago. Ours was actually the lowest premium of its kind charged, and unfortunately, we had an actuarial review, and that's when the actuaries come and talk to me, and they go, it ain't working. And that's when they say, we gotta raise rates, okay? So it was only for the single premium. But we're in a place now where we're competitive, certainly with everybody else. Anybody else? Any other issues?
Do you guys have, as far as the application process, is it just paper and then do a PHI over the phone? Do you guys have
so that's
phone-
great.
phone
What's your
apps?
first name?
Matt.
Matt, okay. So we have two ways to do business with Settlers, okay? Two. One is this thing called a paper app, where everything's included in one booklet, right? Y'all have seen that before. And then we have this thing called the Express app, which it's got to come out when we were rolling this thing out. This is paper, and somehow this is paperless. Although I'm trying to figure out, I'm trying to hide it, so you wouldn't think it's paper. But the Express app is, let me just go over paper first for everybody. It's pretty simple. Paper is, you're in front of a client, you sit down, you take the application, which is inside the book. Is the application easy? For those people who've done it, pretty easy, right? So you go in, fill out the application, you got all your forms here. If you got a 1035 or replacement or anything, it's all right there, right? You just got to fax those in to us, right? You're going to do the phone interview, and you're going to do, at that point, you're going to do the phone interview with us. We're going to do the MIB, and we're going to do the script check. We're going to do that in the front of the call, okay? Anybody here done an Express app yet?
Yeah.
If you did an Express app, have you heard when we run the MIB and right at the beginning, there's a recording at the beginning because we're trying to figure out that voice is mine, right? So when you hear that again, you're gonna be like, how much has this guy done in this product, right? I'm the only person that could do that because if we'd have let the people in Bristol figure out how to write, that call would have lasted an hour and a half. Well, hi, thank you, this is what's going to happen. It goes on, they talk so slow, and they sped up my voice, right, in order to make it sound like it could work. The idea is we want to be able, on the paper app and in the Express app, to give you a decision in the home. Is that important?
Yes.
It is, right? Because you're right there. You build credibility with the client. You may already have a policy with them on the Medicare front or the annuity front. You do not want to leave without something, right? Because you got other carriers. As you mentioned, you have rural neighbors. You've got other carriers that you can pivot to if you need to. Does that make sense? So the PHI, the phone interview, incorporates the script check and the MIB. How long does it take to fill out an application? 5-10 minutes? Okay. Fill it out, you do it, you get your answer. Is that working okay for people for the most part who have used us? That's fine, right? Okay. Then there's this thing that we launched in April called Express app. Now this is where you're actually in the home and there's a worksheet right here at the beginning that you can use, or some people choose not to, but the reason why we ask them to use it is because it provides information that we're going to use as we sort of descend down the call, right? And then up in the top corner, we put the policy number. Why did we do that? Because when you're talking, there's really nothing that you're sending into us unless it's a replacement or 1035 where you have to fax it. But if it's just like a brand new gold client, right? $50,000 gold or whatever it is that you wrote, at that point in time, there's no need to send in paper, right? Everybody know that? It's a paperless, no need to send it in. So for those old school guys like me in the room, do you guys keep stuff in your files? I have a file for everything. So I'll take this and I can put it in the file. I can put policy number and their name right there. So you just shove it in them in a little folder, whatever it is you do. So you have some paper, right? Everybody know how this thing works. So when you call in on the Express app, we're gonna read that disclaimer that we're doing the MIB and the script check at the beginning of the call. Why is that important? for those people who have written, because there's a couple other companies that have an express app type format. Matt, what?
Instant decision.
Well, it's an instant decision or a decision within the first 10 minutes. A lot of times on these calls, you have to go through the entire thing, go to the bank authorization form, and then the guy comes back and says, sorry, it doesn't qualify. You got to do that, but you've already wasted 20 minutes to do that. On our call, you're going to know in the first 8 to 10 minutes what it is as it comes back, which means we'll tell you, hey Matt, look, we've got enough information on this MIB and script check that they're not going to qualify for gold. This might be a bronze, okay, or a silver. Everybody know the different types of products, gold, silver, bronze, okay? Gold to 50 and bronze 40 to 80, right? How many people love bronze? Love it.
I'm glad you got it.
I'm glad you got it too.
Okay. I am sort of not. Bronze is, we ask 2 questions, and that is, are you alive? And then number 2, are you sure? Those are the only 2 on the app, right? When you see that, so as a carrier, and we just give you a quick sort of actuary lesson. A life insurance policy in the final expense world needs to stay on the books for a carrier to make money 6 to 8 years. Okay, so when you're out writing that business today, and you see that little furry thing run underneath your feet into the door, and you know they're not going to be able to afford it, don't do it. Because you might get paid and you might get charged back for it, right? Nobody likes chargeback, but the carrier's not going to make any money. And if you're really being fair to the carriers you work with, that client's got to be able to afford that. So all we ask you is to do what you can for persistency by just making certain that they can afford it. Okay, that's a real critical component. 6 to 8 years. A lot of people think it's, oh, you make money right away. No, carriers don't make money right away in the life insurance world. Very difficult to make money in it. I mean, right now, let's look at what interest rates have been since 2008. I mean, there hasn't been an insurance company making a single nickel on their investments. I mean, they've had to hope for underwriting profits, which is very difficult to do in our space, right? So I'm asking you, when you're out there in the field, do the best that you can to underwrite that risk for our company or any company for that matter, because it's going to take a long time, okay? When you talk about Settlers today, what do you talk about? I mean, what are the things like really pop for you that helps you sell business? Child, grandchild benefit? Does everybody know about that benefit? No. Yeah, I can. Went down the wrong road. Yeah. I created this benefit. It's choking me up. What do they, my mom, my dad?
How's that a good great kids under this policy?
I'm not loving this. I don't know what to do. Yeah, in 2007 I created this in the United States because I really felt like I needed to have something that could change the whole paradigm of the discussion. And the reality of it is we had seen accidental death and dismemberment type products, right? You guys have seen some of the $3,000 accident plan with the other companies. I'm thinking of the Torchmarks of the world and others, the American Income Life and Liberty National, those guys. I said, man, we got to come up with something that's really unique, and we launched it in a Forethoughts product, and it was really successful. So I brought it over here. I love it because it's something to talk about right away. I mean, literally right away, and nobody can argue with it because it's free. It doesn't cost people anything. It's not a rider. You don't sit there and figure out a rider or come up with any kind of calculation. It's free. So for every single person that has a child and a grandchild between the ages of 6 months old and their 18th birthday, which is a lot of people, okay, they automatically get this benefit. What if they have a child? What if they have a child or grandchild who hasn't had any kids yet? Maybe they just got married, or maybe they haven't got married yet. It doesn't matter. As long as they own that policy, if that at any time during their life they have a child, that child's covered up to $5,000. Now, if you have a $1,000 silver plan, we only go up to $1,000. Okay, we don't go to $5,000 on the benefit. But if you think about that, you walk in and you sell somebody a $10,000 gold plan, and you can tell that person if anything happens to any of their grandkids or kids between those ages, the company will pay a one-time benefit of $5,000, up to $5,000. That's nice, isn't it? That's free. There's no cost to that. That benefit in and of itself is a door opener. In fact, I've got an agent going to do a show here pretty soon is actually going to work a baby show, and what they're doing is they've created a whole flyer and everything about children and grandchildren benefit. It's like, who doesn't want something that's free? Get you in the door, get you talking about something, which is important. You guys know what the other benefits of our product really are? Does anybody?
Before you go into that, so they don't have to list people on there?
Nope.
It's just a matter of, hey,
Nope.
I had this 27 years ago, I got a 1-year-old, and, well,
They have not to put any names, any addresses, social security numbers, nothing. It's all included. We'll do all of the claim work at claim time.
You said it's
Okay.
a one-time benefit,
It's a
so
one-time benefit, so if you sell a husband and wife, they both each get a gold plan. There's $5,000 on one policy, $5,000 on the next policy, right? But it pays to the death of one kid. For instance, we got a family going down to Florida to Disney World. There's 3 kids on board. The husband and wife own a policy. All 3 kids die. We'll pay one off the one person's policy, off the mom's policy, and one off the dad's policy for up to $5,000. That's pretty nice, isn't it? And by the way, that's not coming out of their policy. That's just the benefit of their policy. They still keep their full face. Everybody understand that? That's a great benefit. Okay? The other real great benefit in this product, which a lot of people don't know, is our accelerated benefit, right? Which is a benefit that you can accelerate up to 75% for terminal illness, right? A lot of people have terminal illness benefits. But we also do 75% for continuous care in a nursing home. So somebody actually is going to go into a nursing home, and let's say there's a $20,000 plan, gold plan. We can accelerate 75% and give them $15,000 to pay for their nursing home stay. Now, that's not going to pay for a long nursing home stay, but with the nursing homes averaging about 2.3 years, to get $15,000, like it's something like that would be great. If you had a $50,000 plan, it's $37,500, right? That you could be used toward nursing home care.
but how
So
much does
there's
that
like a
rider
limit.
cost?
Huh?
But how much does that rider
That's
cost?
free.
I know.
That's built into the product. We only have a cost on one rider, and that's the what? Accidental, right? Have everybody seen how cheap the accidental is? It's like nothing, right? And you can go up to how much? 100,000 in an accidental death benefit. Why is the benefit so cool when you compare it to others? And we designed it for this. Most everybody's accidental death product in the United States ends at what age? No. Most of them end at age 65, and a few of them will end at 70. Ours expires at age 80. You can buy it up to age 70. I turned 52 in a couple weeks, and what I've noticed is I slip and fall a lot, which I never did before. You guys ever do that? Whereas you get older, you're falling, and you're like falling in slow motion.
Saturday
Like-
nights mostly.
Saturday night. So think about that. Our top 2 producers at Settlers Life, they each write about around $250,000 a year in premium, which is kind of a lot. And they add the accidental death on every single client. Because if you are working in the senior market and you know you have it up to age 70 to offer, feel free to do that, right? It'll also give you a little bit more premium. A little more premium is good for commission, but it's also good for them too. I just saw something, not that we're excited to hear this news, but we have an agent in Chicago that wrote somebody, and he was just killed the other day in a drive-by shooting in Chicago, and there was I think it was a $25,000 plan, but he had a $50,000 accidental thing built into that. So I don't know how we're going to treat the accident of the shooting and the whole deal, but it's all part of the claims process. I just heard it today, so we're going to investigate that. But it's nice to know that you got those things that are added to that program when the family needs that money most. Speaking of when family needs money most, is claims important in our business? What do you guys think? Right? I want, this is something that we had one of our top producers made us do because they use this all the time. If you guys think that claims is important and paying claims is important, and if you've been around, who's been selling insurance for more than 10 years? as a manager or whatever. It's okay. Not a lot of you. That's okay. There's only a few of us that have been corrupted by the dark side. The force is strong than the rest of you. But look, 99.13%. If you've been around this industry a long time, have you ever seen a company tell you exactly how many claims that they paid? This is the exact number of claims we paid last year. $29,270,984. $381 million bucks. So a little company in Bristol, Virginia, with a lot of those claims at $3,000 to $5,000, that's a lot of claims. And to pay 99.13, that includes the contestable claims, guys. Remember, in those first 2 years, if somebody lies, what happens? They always say, no, here's your money back plus 10%. Sorry, you lied, you still made 10%. Never understood that. But anyway, isn't that kind of cool? So we put it out there and we tell people, we're proud of it. We exist to pay claims. And I can guarantee you that if you've had other life insurance companies come through here, they ain't not a one of them said that, okay? Because they don't really do it, not like we do it. We'll put this up against any company in America. So if you are thinking that claims is important, let's do it. Cover. How many people use brochures? Use brochures, okay. Well, I wrote this and designed this specifically for you guys to write big print, and I written in quadrant selling. So what you do here in the first quadrant is you're talking about creating a need, right? This is what it costs somebody today for their funeral, right? $8,500 is what the average cost is right now, right? Now, if you add in cemetery costs, that's over 10 grand. Now, if somebody's in really good shape today at 65, they're probably going to live into their 80s. So if you're selling them a final expense product and you're saying, well, looks like 10.5 will cover you today, are you doing them a service or a disservice? You really want to get that up. You really want to get that up into the 20s if you can. Now, they may not be able to afford it, and you may have to come back down. But start high, because you can never go back up afterwards, right? So you start high, then you come down. Who's going to pay for it? The kids, grandkids? Yes. Is the Social Security going to pay for it? No. So what we do here is we show that the kids are going to pay for it. Then we say, why do you want to prepare? You got X amount of 130 decisions in 24 hours. Product that the rates never increase, benefits never decrease. And oh, by the way, there's this thing that I introduced back in 2000 called the Care Connection. And at the time I was a caregiver, at the time I thought I was cursed, but at the time I found out eventually that I was blessed. I was sort of a young, aspiring, I don't know. At the time I was selling a lot of long-term care insurance, and my wife's grandma, my wife came to me one day, I was brand new, I was 25 years old, my wife, this is back from Jeff, but my wife goes, hey, would it be okay if little grandma came to live with us? And I said, little grandma, your grandma who, has got rheumatoid arthritis and walks and shuffles and all this stuff? She said, yeah. I said, well, okay. Let me check with my dad on this, who was a retired Marine officer, drill instructor. He got a battlefield commission in Vietnam. He was an enlisted man. And so I went to my dad thinking I said, Dad, I just married this lady and now she's telling me I got to take care of her grandma. And I kind of was hoping you could tell me that, give me a good reason to get out of this marriage, And my dad looked at me and he goes, did you have plenty of chances to say I don't before you said I do? I said, yes, sir. He goes, you'll figure it out. I said, that's all you got to get. That's all I got. And I went back home and I decided, you know what, let's do this thing right. So I tried to be a caregiver. And I would come home with my pager. We didn't have cell phones back then, but when you're out running our clients, you have pagers and you're stopping and calling and payphones. And I came home one day and I saw my I call her little grandma, but she was stuck between the tub and the toilet. I had a line of feces, urine, blood all over the floor, and she was stuck between the tub and the toilet with a gash right here, trying to maintain her own independence, and she lost balance. Mm-hmm. And so you are forced at that point in time to figure out what you're going to do. There's people that call 911, and then there are people that just take their stuff off and dive in, and I'm one of those kind of people. So I jumped in, and 2 hours later, seeing things you don't want to see, doing things you don't want to do. You end up doing it because it's just the right thing to do. But you learn that people need help. People need assistance. Families are going through this, and it's an emotional roller coaster. If anybody here has ever taken care of their mom, grandma, some of you know what I'm talking about. It's an emotional roller coaster. You love them in one thing, but the person that you're watching to go downhill isn't the person you remember. And so you feel like you're taking care of a stranger. And I got to the point where little grandma would come to me and she would say, Stevie, put it back. And I'm like, I'm sorry, grandma, put what back? You took my money, put it back. And it's like, oh, okay, grandma, I'm not sure I should. And it just, she goes, you got it. And so I pulled out a dollar bill out of my wallet and I put it on the thing and said, here, grandma, here's your money back. You know how hard that is? Day in and day out, and then you see this stuff on the floor, and then you see somebody that's not your same person, and you got to deal with it. It's tough. My point is, I was so frustrated with the fact that I didn't feel companies, because I was selling insurance, that I was asking companies to help, and they go, hey man, there was no internet at the time, so they're like, just look it up, figure it out yourself. Can't help you. Go call the area association on aging, maybe they can help you. Nobody helped me. So I decided in 2000 to create a product that was called the Care Connection. I ended up selling it to Conseco, it became Live Right, I sold it to Blue Cross Blue Shield, Equitable Life Academy, like 10 other companies across the U.S. And it got noticed, people knew that at that point in time I was in the long-term care business, but really what I was doing was I was creating a national network of a PPO network, if you will, of assisted living facilities, nursing homes, adult daycare centers, estate planning attorneys, geriatric care managers, people that can actually help families as they move through the care continuum, right? And when I say that, you got people that get sick, and that's this thing called morbidity, right? And then as they keep going through that morbidity cycle, then they eventually die, and that's where the mortality comes in. There was nobody, and still exists nobody in the United States to help families do that. And I said, that's BS. So I decided back then to include it, and now I've put it into the Settlers product, and it's called our end-of-life assistance, right? So when you sell a final expense product with Settlers, you are getting not only up to $50,000 to pay for your final expenses, but you're getting free end-of-life assistance with my team and me, if you need me. We will help the family do whatever it takes. If they need to find Meals on Wheels, they need to get an estate planning attorney, they need to do a will, they need to find a nursing home that will accommodate them. Whether it's in Seattle or whether it's in Texas, we will do whatever it takes. I will not pay for it, but I will do everything I can to help that family as if it were my own mom and dad, my own grandma and grandpa. Why? Because I'm the guy that launched it in the U.S. There's nobody else, it's just me. So I've got the team built that can help your families when they need it. Now, do they all call? No, because a lot of families do this. At the time of need, they want to hurry up and get in. Yes, sir.
So, I'm interested in the will part. So you're saying that Settlers will not pay for the will,
Right.
but you will point them in the right direction for somebody to call.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. Do you like that? Is that different than what you're used to? It's a little different, right? Oh, and it's a thing called paying claims, and I'm being real quick because I'm conscious of the time. Paying claims. We pay our claims. If we have all the information, we will pay our claims within 24 to 48 hours. As long as we have the death certificate, I don't care. As long as we have done our investigation, we are going to make that payment quickly. Okay? The idea is you sold Settlers Life to that family. Maybe it was 5, 10, 15 years down the road. We got to be there for them. Okay? And we pride ourselves in that. Okay? You guys know what this is? Anybody use this? Big check? Big check, small check? Big check, little check? Does anybody hate this? Right? Does anybody know what it really is? It's okay. I have people that just absolutely hate this, and they make fun of me. And then I've got some super, super wealthy agents who love this. So let me just explain to you what my idea was when we created this. When you go into families, sometimes you're not talking to rocket scientists, right? You're not talking to very, shall we say, extremely educated people, right? You're walking into middle America. And sometimes middle America doesn't understand life insurance because we can make it real complicated. We thought we'd break it down so it'd be real simple. We'd say, Mrs. Johnson, here's how it works. You make out this check, right, to Settlers Life. It's all perforated right here. Your check each month. So it's, say, $25 a month. And for that $25 a month, when you pass on, your family's going to get this big check. and it's gonna be paid out to you or to your loved one right here for a total of, and here's what it covers. It covers money for your final expenses, free end-of-life assistance, and fast claims payment. I use little boxes because I do everything upside down at the dinner table. It's the way I always learn, because you do everything with a check mark. Why is this cool? See this little policy number at the bottom? You do the Express app today, and you actually sit down with a client and you use this almost as a brochure, because it's like, look, funeral cost facts, this is why you need to do it. Here's a little bit about Settlers Life. We're an A- company, been doing this a long time. We focus on paying claims. You don't want to burden your loved ones. It's kind of like a little mini brochure, isn't it? But then on the front, it actually shows you how life insurance works. And if you then go in to do the application, we're going to give you a policy number at the end for your client, and you can literally write it right there on the check. So when your client's saying, well, when will I get that policy in the mail? Are you guys delivering it to the office? You come here and you take them out. So you're going to get the policies delivered here, then you're going to go out there and take it with them. And wouldn't it be kind of cool when you said, here's your policy number, and it matches up with the policy that you have, okay? So you know you're covered, all right? Cool little thing in seminars. It's great at sitting down with families who are struggling to understand life insurance. You guys know what this is, right? Some of you said you really liked it. Do you guys know you can put your card in the back? Does everybody know that? Wonderful little thing. You want to leave them, they're free, so you want to make sure you leave them behind. Excellent end-of-life resources. And because you've got a Navy base and an Air Force base around here, right? You know, there's really good information here on veterans benefits. So that's really good information to share with your client. Again, making yourself look very professional. And also at the front, does everybody know what the funeral rule is now? It's okay, still, I go around the country, Scott, and people tell me, yeah, I gotta study that, but I don't. I swear by the funeral rule. It basically is the Bill of Rights for every single person in America. It states that you have rights, that when you die, among other things, you can get your caskets, your monuments, your markers, your services. You can negotiate with the funeral home. You have every right to be in charge of your own burial. And it's all here in the funeral rule. It was enacted by the Federal Trade Commission, which is a governmental entity in 1992. And it states that every consumer has rights. And if you're an insurance agent, you need to share these rights with your client. When you do, they will trust you. They will trust you not only with their life insurance, but they'll trust you with their Medicare. They'll trust you with their annuities, because if you're sharing something that they don't know, or they would have a very difficult time finding out on their own, they will trust you. Trust me when I tell you that. I've been doing this a long time. If you know the funeral rule, you will go out and start writing way more business than you probably think you have a right to. Know this rule. People will ask you about it, and once you know it, you are in. Okay? This is a what? Okay, what are y'all doing with this magnet today? Everybody know? You put your business card on it, right? So, everybody see that? So this is like my business card. I just there's a couple little things of booger glue on there. So, it wasn't a very good time, but it just sticks on there. Yeah, the booger glue. It's the kind of stuff that rolls in your fingers all the time. You can't get it off. Stop being so proud. I mean, come on. We're real. So, this is, so you put your thing right here. What you do, here's how you do it. When you go sell a customer today, all right, what are you doing with this? Help me understand what you're doing with it right now, for people who are using it.
You take it on their fridge.
You just go and put it on the fridge. You go, here you go. If you need anything, call me, right? Sound good, right? Well, let me give you another way to do this, and if you follow exactly what I'm about ready to tell you, you'll write more business than, again, you probably think you have the right to. But you gotta listen to me, and you gotta do it exactly the way I do it, okay? Now, Scott, now that we've taken care of your final expenses, your money to cover your final expenses, your free end-of-life services, your prompt claims payment when you need it, we've got you covered. I'm going to put this magnet on your refrigerator, okay? If anything ever happens to you, Scott, give me a call, and we'll be able to take care of everything for you. What's wrong with that? Why ain't he gonna be able to call?
He's gonna be dead.
Why are you guys laughing? That's a morbid thought. You guys got this big grin on your face. He's dead.
Yeah, that's wrong.
They're so happy he's dead.
We're just keeping it real.
Come on, people, you can't be dead.
We're just
All right?
keeping it real.
I know you're keeping it real.
An accident
So,
writer.
right? So in that case, Scott, you say, you know, I just remembered something, Scott. If anything ever happens to you, you aren't going to be able to call me because you'll be either incapacitated, in a nursing home, something's happened, or you would have passed away. That's why I need to get 3 names from you. And I've got to go deliver 3 magnets. Listen to me. 3 magnets to people that you trust. That could be your next door neighbor, could be somebody in business, could be the church pastor, could be anybody. But 3 people that you know and you trust would call me. And so I can make sure that the company pays that claim to the family quickly. Who are those people? So I'm going to go drop a magnet off to today. You guys see how that works? Then I'll go over and I'll see Matt and I'll say, hey Matt, hey, Steve Bontel at ASB Settlers Life, whatever. Hey, your good friend Scott Grow went ahead and took care of his end of life planning with me. And he said that if anything ever happened to him, he trusted you, that you would call me and call the organization so that we can hurry up and get the family the assistance and the money that they need. Would it be okay if I put this magnet on your refrigerator so that you can call us? See how that works? So what's going to happen is, what's Matt going to say? He's going to say, what's this all about, right? What did he get? You guys understand that we have the rate calculator on the phone, right?
Yeah.
You understand? So at that point in time, you can immediately go, what? You can immediately say, well, I can't go into details exactly what Scott has got, but I can go ahead and quote you a plan very similar to Scott. So you can actually go and start quoting that person right there. Let's say then Matt takes it up on it and he buys the plan, does the Express app right there over the phone. Matt then said, you go to Matt, now if anything ever happens to you, right, call me and we'll get working on this. And then what happens? You know, just remember, if something happens to you, you're not going to be there. You're not going to be able to call me. That's why I need 3 names from you. Do you see how it propagates? It continues to grow. I've got people, I'm not exaggerating. I did this one time with a group in Lakeland, because when I'm not busy, which hasn't been a lot lately, but when I'm not, I like to ride in the field. So I like to go out there with you guys because I'd usually make bets with people that I can outsell them. And so what we do is we just go around and do all this stuff, and I never take any commission, obviously I can't. So I'm just doing all this for people. So I went into a Lakeland home, the guy's with me, he's a top agent, right? So he goes, hey, do me a favor. I know you think you're a big shot, but you've been out of the field for a long time. And so all you're gonna do is screw things up. That's what he told me. You're just gonna screw it up. I said, all right, fair enough. And I said, can I say anything? It's no, you say nothing. He goes, just buy me dinner. So I go in the home, and the woman, he goes, well, so here's the deal. We're going to do this. The woman says, okay, it's $50 a month. He writes the app and the whole deal. And he goes, let's get out of here. And I said, can I say something like this? And he looks at me and goes, his eyes just kind of drop. I go, I have to say something. He goes, can I talk to you for a second? I said, excuse me, ma'am. He goes, I told you not to say anything. We're out of here. I said, you got to let me try this. If I screw it up, I'll pay you the commission, even the whole thing. He goes, all right, whatever. So I went back in there and I said, now if anything ever happens to you, I want to put this magnet on your refrigerator. I did the exact same thing. I said, but I need to have 3 names. I can't leave because I got to go see those 3 people right now. She goes, hold on a second. And he kicks me because we were sitting at the couch. So he's kicking me underneath the couch. Like he's going like this, right? The woman comes back, it's not exaggerating, I can see it like it was yesterday. It's a black Rolodex, one of those old plastic ones, and she's got names on every one of those things, and she had like 42. And so she goes, well, here's the number you can contact. She's a really good friend of mine. Here's so-and-so, he's a good friend of mine. And this guy is writing these names as he's going through like this. Literally the whole thing. And he looks at me and he goes, you come out with me anytime, dude, when this whole thing's over. And I said, you just got to ask, man. You don't get anything in life unless you ask. And when you have something that you can work with, it changes the game. $25,000 before the end of the year gets you the green briar. Can you guys do it?
Yeah.
Can you
Do
do
we
it?
get more of these in bulk?
You can buy as many as you need. I mean, we do 25 at a time because they cost me money, but they're free. So why wouldn't you want it? And every single Medicare sale that you get, why wouldn't you send it out? You'll write more final expense than you know what to do with. Believe me, it's terrific. Hopefully it's with us, because it kind of looks weird putting a covered magnet with a Royal Neighbors policy. I'm just saying. Or a certificate. There's some method to my madness, right? All right. Yeah, exactly. All right, you guys want some gifts? Has that been helpful for you? Because you got some stuff in there to go by. Some of you guys, I think, already know the product, so I didn't spend a whole lot of time with you on that. But I want you to be successful. I want you guys to know. One thing I'm going to do for you real quick.